Hi, my name is Sarah, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is my story. I was with my ex, Tom, for a few years before we had our daughter, Emily. She's 10 now, and when she was just a few weeks old, Tom moved out and started living with some other woman. From that moment on, he was rarely involved in Emily's life. I finally had to put him on child support a few years ago because, honestly, you'd think he was Father of the Year for paying $300 a month. That's it. He never really had custody, and I wasn't going to chase him around trying to force him to be involved in our daughter's life. Fast forward a few years, and last year, Tom remarried a woman named Peggy. Peggy is 45, and now suddenly, Tom wants more custody. I talked to Emily's therapist about it and agreed to every other weekend for now. I wasn't going to force my kid to completely change her life just because Tom finally decided he wanted to play family. I've always been focused on what's best for Emily, not on making Tom feel like a good parent. The problem is that Tom and Peggy's house is just miserable for Emily. I try to stay positive with her, but honestly, their behavior and lifestyle are not what she's used to. They yell constantly, don't care about hygiene, and their house is filthy. Not in a way that CPS would get involved, but it's definitely not what I'd consider normal or healthy. Then there's Peggy's kids. She has five, but two of them are older and on their own. The remaining three are a nightmare for Emily. There's a 17-year-old son, a 12-year-old daughter, and a son Emily's age. They're basically feral. No supervision at all, constantly glued to their phones, no structure, no guidance. Emily doesn't get along with them, which makes visits even harder. Another huge issue is Peggy's stance on health. She's an anti-vaxxer. I cannot, under any circumstances, put Emily in that environment when I've worked so hard to keep her safe. It all came to a head recently at one of Emily's soccer games. Tom and Peggy were 45 minutes late. Emily had been texting me frantically because she was worried about being late. When I called Tom to see what was going on, he screamed at me for calling. I couldn't believe it. I've always been involved and supportive of Emily, and I've never once forced her to stay away from her father. But that kind of behavior? Totally unacceptable. Tom and Peggy live way out in the boonies, about a 25-30-minute drive from my house. I told him from the start that I had no intention of driving hours out of my way or changing my life to accommodate him, and he promised it wouldn't be a problem. But now he's trying to set up a meeting point or switch off handovers, which I flat out refused. He's the one who chose to live so far away. He can do the driving. And the most outrageous request? He wants to take Emily out of her school. She's in our district's competitive magnet school. Getting in wasn't easy. It took a lot of hard work, applications, meetings, and honestly, she earned it on her own merits. Tom claims his stepkids are jealous of what Emily has and wants her enrolled in their public school. Absolutely not happening. Emily has male role models in her life, ones who actually care about her, guide her, and aren't obsessed with social media clout. She's got a stable routine, supportive teachers, and friends she's grown up with. I can't let Tom's sudden desire to step up jeopardize that. Now, I know some people might say I'm being rigid or unfair, but I've always had full custody. I've never kept Emily from her father. I've tried to make things work without turning her life upside down. But my number one responsibility is her well-being. I cannot, in good conscience, allow her to spend every other weekend in a chaotic, unsafe, or unhealthy environment just because Tom suddenly wants to be a better parent. I've talked to her therapist, documented everything, and am standing my ground. If Tom wants more custody, he can try to go to court. But honestly, I doubt he has the gumption to follow through. Even if he does, I sincerely believe a judge would see that his current home environment is not in Emily's best interest. This isn't about keeping Emily from her father. It's about keeping her safe, happy, and thriving. She's 10, and she deserves stability. She deserves parents who think before they act and prioritize her over their own convenience or egos. So, am I the asshole for standing firm? For putting Emily first, even if it upsets Tom? I don't think so. I think every parent would feel the same in my shoes. My daughter's life is not a negotiation. Her happiness and safety come first, always. This is my story. The reality of co-parenting with someone who suddenly decides they want to be involved after years of absence. It's messy, frustrating, and emotionally draining, but at the end of the day, I will always fight for what's best for Emily. That's my job, and I take it very seriously.